so faithless, just under the surface. Don't know what you're expecting of me, but under the pressure of walking in your shoes, every step that I take is another mistake.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Underground Resistance Network. My name is Lori Alexander, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts tonight, Robbie D. and EJ Clinton from Factions of Freedom. Hey, guys.
How you doing?
Salutations, team.
It's
How
good
you
to
guys
be back.
doing?
We're doing doing great. It's been people have been wondering where we've been, but we've been in the background. We've been doing lots of research. We've been putting up a lot of posts. We've been growing the groups,
Yes.
and we are still
Restructuring.
very relevant.
Restructuring, yeah, we've been restructuring.
Restructuring.
Yeah.
Growing all the time. We're on the right side of the ground. That's a plus.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So we have taken a little break. I did announce to you guys that my daughter was coming to town, and she has since she left today. So my mood's not exactly the best, but we are live tonight. We are going to be doing a show. We thought it was kind of timely that we get this out on the air. We are going to be talking tonight about the death of another singer. Most of you have probably known that Chester Bennington, lead singer of the rock group Linkin Park, was found dead last Thursday for the LA County coroner. He was 41 years old. Coroner's office was called out to the home in Palos Verdes Estates shortly after 9 a.m. Thursday. Authorities said they were treating the case as a possible suicide. Bennington's band found success in 2000 with their album Hybrid Theory, and Bennington's heartfelt vocals leading the way. We saw this story break. We've been following it since it broke. We've gone down the usual paths of investigations, and what this has uncovered is
not simple.
No.
It's not simple at all. I mean, as we were discussing before the show, the early indications were that is possibly a hoax. That a lot of people that are listening tonight that have done the research understand that last year there was a lot of celebrity so-called deaths, and we did come to the conclusion that there was quite a majority of them that were possibly staged as a hoax. By the elite,
like David Bowie.
By David Bowie as an example, by the occult, because even though we know that people die, but there was too many of them, and it all fell into the numbers. But on further investigation of this particular thing, as we're going to discuss tonight, there's a good possibility that there's a second option, and we are now going to talk about that tonight.
Personally, one of the reasons why I wanted to be on the panel to talk about this is because I grew up listening to Linkin Park. Hybrid Theory, Reanimation, and Meteor, like the first three original albums. That's Linkin Park to me. They kind of, to be honest, they kind of fell off to me after New Divide, once they kind of got mainstream. But I guess that's kind of what happens to many bands, whenever they end up becoming mainstream. And so, to hear this as a hoax, and to hear like all the kind of stuff that happened surrounding it, it's just kind of made me think. And we talked about this before the show. Why won't they let this man die in peace? Why are there so many questions and so many different curious things surrounding just the death?
Yeah, I mean, you and I, it's funny because the last one, maybe 6 months ago, you posted something about you posted a Linkin Park song, and I was like, oh, my favorite band. Linkin Park, I absolutely for so long. And, I really, really like Linkin Park.
It's good for the soul.
You and I, we talked, we had conversations about, Linkin Park and what it means to us and how it's affected our lives and stuff like that. And so Circa Nerves kind of hit home when this happened. Most of you know that Chester was friends with Chris.
Chris Cornell. Yep.
What's his name? Chris.
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Yeah. Most of you know that he was best friends with Chris Cornell, and like we said, when this story broke, we looked at it. It was a suicide. And, you know, we always have the preliminary reports that come out, okay? But before the preliminary reports came out, we said right away, okay, well, it was Chris's birthday. July 20th was Chris Cornell's birthday. The fact that he was distraught over his friends committing suicide would lead a person to believe that, okay, well, just maybe, you know, this was there was a tie to this, or there was a possible undertow about this. Then that Chester Bennington was set to give an interview later in the day, later Thursday, like late Thursday afternoon, early evening. Chester Bennington was set to give an interview, and he was going to talk about Cornell's death, things that Chris Cornell and himself were set to expose on the elite pedophilia rings that we've been reporting about, aka Pizzagate. What do you guys think about that?
After, you know, initially, I think whenever people look at stuff like that, they think, well, that's too coincidental. That makes too much sense. But like you said, you know, when you keep doing digging and you start looking at some of the similarities, you know, as Robbie D was saying, the numerology and the synchronicity, because it's not really there. They're planning these things. It makes that much more sense when you see it unfold. As we said, you know, doing more research, waiting for things to come out, waiting for more information, and connecting the dots. It makes that much more sense. You know, why are we hearing that it was predicted? You know, why? And this is something we'll get into as well. You know, why were the wife's tweets deleted? You know, why are they making up fake tweets regarding him saying that he has information to the Clintons? And then you also got to ask other questions. And this is just something that I had to ponder on myself. Is just why is Bill Clinton hanging out with Mike Shinoda? Why are they in Haiti? You know, and they have like a public reason as to why they're in Haiti, but why are they doing that? You see, and for someone like me that's grown up listening to him, that's just extremely odd.
You and I, or you sent me the link. Chris Cornell and his wife started a charity, yeah, to help these abused children, and now it's been blacked out. You said? Yeah.
Let me see if I can try to pull up the actual website for you.
I've got the screen share on you, dear. So if you can find that, yeah. And we did. We've searched this. You know, we've come up and we've found that there's a connection between Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, and their ties to the Clinton Foundation, the SRS Foundation, Haiti, Podesta, and Pizzagate. You know, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's something that we've over the last few days that and we're not the only people that have put these, you know, connected these dots and come up with the same, you know, 2 + 2 is 4 on this. And it hasn't really been that difficult if you stop and think about it. You know, it hasn't been difficult at all. I do know that we're probably going to. Let me just start by saying the information that we're going to present to you guys tonight, take it however you want. Okay, we've done our due diligence, we've researched. We urge you to take the information that you see tonight and go and do your own research. Okay, we're going to show you the dots. Okay, we do not mean to offend anybody who likes Lincoln Park. We are not to offend anybody who believes a certain way, but we are going to present some unethical things to you, or some unorthodox things to you. And whether it's your opinion or not, whether it's true or not, we ask you to do your own due diligence, and we ask that you, do the research for yourself. EJ, did you want to play that video?
Yeah, I'll try to find the video, but right quick, this right here is the Chris and Vicky Cornell Foundation, and this is the video that we were talking about. The link that we were talking about, their actual foundation. You try to go to it, and it's blacked out. It says the Chris and Vicky Cornell Foundation was formed in late 2012 with the mission to protect the most vulnerable children. While most of the philanthropic work to date has been private and anonymous, Chris and Vicky formed the foundation based on their personal experience working in child protection space. And then when you click the link right here, as you see, Chris and Vicky Cornell Foundation, it's just blacked out. And so there's actual articles out there that have kind of put all this stuff together of whenever not only Chester but Chris have found themselves checking on people who have been victims of trafficking, children that have been involved in this type of thing.
Yeah.
And so whenever you kind of draw that line between why Chris would be upset or why Chris would be killed, and then what's going on with Chester, that's something we'll get into later. But there's a lot of different factors involved with it, and it's just not a very simple death, unfortunately.
Exactly. And so let's start with something obvious, shall we?
I'll try to find. Did you want me to get that video of Mike Shinoda in Haiti?
Yeah. Can you get that? See that one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Someone's at my door. Yeah. So, you hear me, guys?
Hear you.
Excellent. So anyway, the thing is that obviously, we said that we went down two routes, and at the time when it first broke, I did put up the Russian video. Some writing, totally unconnected but all connected, and even though they initially said that it could be a hoax, there was a lot of numerology attached to it, and even even with the short article, it explored the fact that it may be not.
Breaking up, Robbie.
Breaking up fierce.
Maybe I should
just pop back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. While he's doing that, I'm going to put the article chat room. I think I sent it to you with the gematria on.
Yeah, I'm right here.
I think I have it. And right here is here's where we're playing the clip of Mike Shinoda in Haiti explaining why he's there.
We'll get to the gematria of it. No sound.
Yeah.
No sound?
I'll tell you what. Here, I'll do this.
He's talked about basically transferring plastic, using it as like sustainable sources of energy.
I got it. Can you start it over?
Yep.
My phone. That's how I've been doing our sound.
It's nothing like live TV, is it?
Nope. Live editing.
Hold on a second. Whoops. Hold on. Okay, ready. Go.
Ready?
Yeah. Why am I not getting any sound either?
Oh man, this is live editing, guys.
Okay, hold on. Okay, start it over.
All right. Starting it now.
Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
Please hold. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta wait for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But basically, that's if anything, that's just kind of one of my thoughts on the process is like, why is Bill Clinton? We've heard, and this is something I want to get into later on in the show, things like Klaus Eberwein and all the other things that are going on with Haiti. There's an article I posted earlier today about how there's been 8 officials that have been arrested in Haiti due to all of this. Eight mid to high level traffickers arrested, 30 children rescued in Haiti in an undercover operation. And we've heard that time and time again about how the Clintons are involved in human trafficking and child trafficking in Haiti. That's also where we hear some of their tales of, doing voodoo and black magic and things of this nature as well. So one of my questions again is, why do we have a picture of Bill Clinton and Mike Shinoda without Chester Bennington in Haiti?
Go ahead.
All right. Ready? Go.
I got it.
We're going to be trying these out with our Lincoln Park fan base now. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Nope, it's not planned.
No.
No.
Well, they're basically just talking about how they have an operation in Haiti where they pick up plastic, they convert it into Lincoln Park supplies. They have people that come from all over the world. They pick up 50,000 pieces of plastic every day. As you see right there, there's Bill Clinton. And again, my question is why isn't Chester Bennington there? What are they doing in Haiti? And so one of the connections I've kind of drawn is just, how do you think that would freeze frame that right there? There he is. You see him? All happy, all smiling. There he is.
Right.
So why do we have this connection here? And why is Chris Cornell there? Why was Chris Cornell dealing with people and children that were victims of trafficking? And this is, again, like I said, one of the connections I've drawn. How would you feel if, the person that you figured out that was your estranged father, I'm not saying Bill Clinton's his father, I'm saying John Podesta, and we'll make that connection later. But how would you feel if your estranged father was actually dipping into your foundation to find children that were already abused, only to re-abuse them again?
I'd be a bit weirded out by the whole thing.
It would be. It's it's more of this satanic stuff that they're up to, where they're just continuously poisoning people.
Unless you're part of the cabal by choice or by coercion, and you have to play your little part. This is how these psychopaths, these disgusting extremes work. They use people as puppets, pawns, bloodline, relation, families, and whatnot, and
they do.
It is.
It's like, why immediately they had a statement. They came out with a statement, they canceled their tour, and then that's whenever all the drama started to ensue. I mean, I'll try to pull up that picture that Lori sent me, but it was of those tweets. They deleted the tweets later on because they knew that could have been used as evidence. But why would those types of things happen? Why would they immediately try to discredit Chester and his marriage at the same time? Why is Mike Shinoda coming out saying that, this is part of the deal? This is what happens whenever you sign on the dotted line. You have to deal with the demons. I mean, Lori, you just read us the statement that they released, right?
I thought I would save that for just a couple minutes. If you guys, I've got the tweets up on the screen, which I thought was pretty interesting because now here's what I'm going to tell you guys. It's kind of interesting. I posted this on my Facebook the other day, and it was a question. It was kind of a redundant question because it really didn't warrant an answer. Asked it, but I said, "Isn't it funny?" I'm gonna pull it up here. I said that immediately after a high-profile event, where someone tweets the truth about it, mainstream media all of a sudden claims the account was hacked. We saw this with Rudy Giuliani and his revelation about Pizzagate and several other of the past few months. Now we're seeing the same claim being made regarding Chester Bennington's wife's tweet, saying she had proof he was murdered. Okay? immediately, or not quite immediately, but shortly after Chester's death, Talinda Bennington, Chester's wife, tweeted these, and it says, "I've never really loved him, and I'm not hacked. I just was in love with the money, and it hurts to say." She also tweeted, "He did not kill himself. He was already dead before he hung himself. I have proof." And she also said, "I guess this is the time to say it. I guess this is the time to say it, but I have been cheating on Chester with Mike Shinoda."
See, that's rude. That's just rude and disrespectful.
Isn't it just?
Now, here's the thing is, and then she tweets these, and then all of a sudden, now, and I'm going to show you guys something. Notice the blue dot next to her name. That means it is a verified account. Not an account. You guys aren't seeing. Hold on.
No, we were seeing it.
Oh, no, they were seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you see the blue dot next to the account. The blue dot means that it's a validated, it is authentic, it is a verified account. So this was not an account that was made to look like hers, okay? Account that somebody duplicated and tried to say that it was Talinda. This is actually Talinda's account. Now, what are the chances, guys? I mean, come on. Here's what I'm trying to say is, after an event like this, after, these big, huge events, people start tweeting things, and all of a sudden they say stuff that's true, and all of a sudden, oh, they got hacked, really seriously? So we need to believe that every single time a major event happens and somebody tweets something, that account was hacked.
Well, see, it's the same kind of mindset of where we just like dismiss this entire situation, all these connections, because all people can hear is the one-dimensional side of this conversation. They think they hear his music and that obviously he's depressed, so he killed himself. There it is, case closed. That's how people choose to look at things. Just because we literally have to say, "I'm not hacked. No, I'm not suicidal," even though like the lyrics reflect it. Like I said, why is there so much controversy around this man that was suicidal? If he was suicidal, why didn't he just kill himself instead of taking care of his 6 kids, having all these other plans, having all these other interactions? You see, and that's music. People can understand that. Like I said, I've grown up listening to Linkin Park. I understand like the music that they're trying to get out there, but at the same time, who's over here saying kill themselves? He's you can hear it in the music, struggling with the demons.
Right, and who kills themselves just hours before he's set to do an interview to talk about Chris Cornell and about the whole the stuff that they were going to reveal? Yeah, I'm sorry, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
Well, it's breadcrumbs again, isn't it? It goes back to.
Go ahead.
No. I was just. Go ahead.
One of the things I think is strange is like looking at how it's like, I don't want to chop it up to the Clinton body count or anything of that nature, but it's just like as well as now Chester, unfortunately, and as we were talking about before, with Klaus Eberwin, what is going on in Haiti? Why is there so many different things involved in Haiti and the Clinton Foundation and this Pedalgate situation? Like, why are we still seeing these things prop up? And then we started seeing how this particular meme of how Chester and Podesta, how they basically look like either clones or that's his dad, because that's a spitting image. There's no other way. And I mean, how many times have we talked about surrogate fathers or sugar daddies that just sit there and pay off families? I mean, that happens all the time. And I know like the easy thing is for people just to dismiss this simply because simply because he was suicidal. But why would these types of things take place if that wasn't the case?
Well, it's funny you mentioned about the Clinton body count, because it's not just the Clinton body count as well. It's the DNC body count as well. Did you know that Debbie Wasserman Schultz has had her house raided by the FBI because they found a body on the beach back in May, which is connected to her? Yeah, literally it's just broke. In fact, I sent the video into the inbox, into Laura's inbox just before we went on air.
I've got it, but
Yeah.
I would.
No, yeah, but there seems to be a trail of bodies that seems to be floating about, and it seems to be getting, starting to enlarge itself as the weeks go by. They are trying to clean house, and there's got to be an occult attachment to all of this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and this is another connection that I've kind of drawn. If you look at it, I mean, what's right around the corner? August. What takes place in August? The solar eclipse. These people, they worship the black sun. How many more sacrifices? How many more of these types of things are going to happen? You see, I'm like, look at Jay-Z and dropping of his new album. That's something that we should get into as well. How they have an occult connection as well. But there's so many different things surrounding just this death alone, like the timing of it.
Don't you find I'm going to get into that in a second, but don't you find it strange that Jay-Z brought out that video, the OJ video, literally in the same week that OJ Simpson, right, got his parole hearing, and there's an occult attachment around OJ Simpson as well, including his name, and the fact that he was actually given 30 for this thing that he supposedly done. He was given 33 years. His actual name, the Simpson name, adds up in the Pythagorean numerology as to 33. They're dropping these breadcrumbs along the way, but everything seems to be connected now. For all these coincidence theorists out there, you really need to start making the connection. Now, as I was trying to get to this thing, but when this story first broke, and it was considered that it was possibly a hoax, this came up, and it says here, Linkin Park singer Chester Bennington hoax. 2 days before Chester Bennington's alleged hoaxed suicide, Chester Bennington's mourning page was created, but later taken down by the band's manager stroke handler.
I did see that.
Yeah, fake death. It just so happened to have occurred on Chris Cornell's birthday, CC equaling 33 in Pythagorean numerology gematria, and Chris Cornell's death was an obvious, and it says here, we can't say this for sure, obvious staged hoax. Right, so we discount that for now. The name Chester in Pythagorean numerology gematria equals 33. Gematria is the practice of coding numbers and words, originated in Chaldea, Babylon, and later borrowed by the occultist Pythagoras, and the Kabbalah. I've lost my train here. Kabbalah, Talmudic synagogue of Satan, now used by the Masons and the Jesuits all over the world in the media to leave their breadcrumb of clues and deceit. His death just so happened to occur exactly 33 days before the total solar eclipse occurring on the 21st. Research the 2017 solar eclipse and CERN connection. The Linkin Park logo is a two-dimensional hexagram, which is a three-dimensional cube. Black cube worship is the new world religion of feathered plume serpent and Saturnalius worship. I don't need to go on for this, but you see where it's going with this? It says,
pulled up the Jay-Z, the new Jay-Z album, the 444, is also coded into the Illuminati. It's also coded into Chester Bennington, and I'm going to make sure that the article that Robbie's reading from is put in the description area below when we get done with the show tonight, because it's very interesting to read. It's very interesting to look at the numbers, the numerology. We know that they encode these numbers into their rituals. Yep. What I thought was interesting is not only did Jay-Z drop his album, the 444, but it also says this is the 13th studio album. Why does he need to write that? The 13th. There's the 13 again. If you're a follower of Linkin Park, you'll know that Jay-Z with Linkin Park of their hit Numb. Is, in my looking at it now, Numb is in my opinion, the reaching out of Chester Bennington to tell us that, you know, this is what was happening to him. What do you guys think of that?
It's kind of like a grooming song. It's like a look,
Yeah.
we're getting into the mainstream. We're starting to, you know, make headway, you know, and now that we're having to involve ourselves with these pedophiles, with these Satanists, with these people like Marina Abramovich, you know, we are becoming numb, you know, and you hear it in their music. And even though you have to give it to them, even though they do try different styles and other things like expanding the music, you know, it just doesn't have that original, to me, like I said, it doesn't have that original feel as their first three albums did. And even though Mike Shinoda like took a hand in the direction of like the first two, or the second and the third album, you know, it just explains it. I don't know. Numb was about his abuse. Numb was a lot of his stories are about his abuse, and he even talks about like how he was molested as a child outside of his music and like in different interviews. And that's something that people have to like. We really got to we have to put into perspective. I mean, we've had on people on the show that are abuse victims. You know, we've talked about SRA, we've talked about MK Ultra, we've talked about, you know, these indoctrination, these grooming programs, these things that these people do. And so at a deeper level, you know, and this is where I'm at personally, I got to ask myself, am I literally listening to the pain of an MK Ultra victim, or of somebody that's a victim of this kind of mind control, this kind of abuse? And I think what's interesting is you found out apparently that there was a facility that conducted experiments on forgotten children. Is that right?
Yeah, Lincoln Park is a MK Ultra facility up in Canada that did experimentation on children. Absolutely.
You see what's crazy, and you got to hear me out, because I'm just going to throw this out here because this is a revelation coming right now. If you guys have ever listened to Donald Marshall and his talking about how he wrote some music for, I think it was Megadeth or a metal band, and how they used him and his lyrics for their music, you know, fast forward to what we're dealing with now, trying to uncover this plot. That's what it sounds like right here. Maybe this place, Lincoln Park, you know, is a cloning facility. Maybe it is some kind of government institution. I don't know, but I think what we're dealing with is abuse victims, is more of the pedogate stuff. And so then, like I said, when you look at what's going on in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation, why is Mike Shinoda hanging out with Bill Clinton?
Yeah. You got to understand about these people. I'm just going to throw opinion out here. That, you know, the majority of the time that the people that you see in the spotlight, in the highlights, in Hollywood, in the big movies, and on the major stage, making these multi-million-dollar deals, they're not. These people aren't discovered. They don't discover them on America's Got Talent. These people are created. They are handpicked. They are chosen. And the majority of these people are bloodline relations to the elite, yeah, to further the agenda, whether they, you know, they are whether they go along with the agenda or they're coerced to go with the agenda. The people that they either work for or work with are pure duppy. They are dark, demonic people, right? They've got a clear agenda, and they have these people that go through the fraternities or go through the Masonic orders, because all these people have to sign their name. They have to, you know, you've heard the stories of selling your soul to the devil. Well, these people, you know, they have to take that step. If they have to go and climb these levels, because it's not just a fact that, you know, they're making this money and they are putting out these albums and they are getting all this money for these concerts and they are on MTV and whatnot. Yeah, these people are performing rituals, whether it's these music videos that they're making or whether they're out there selling a product, or they're performing these live performances, whether it's Linkin Park, whether it's Michael Jackson, whether it is Jay-Z, whether it is, you know, whether these are people that are being coerced or they are willing participants. They are either being initiated into this brotherhood or they are initiating. They are being handlers for people that are coming up in these brotherhoods. Yeah. So, you know, whether Chester Bennington was a willing participant or he was coerced into doing this stuff, he was part of an agenda, and this is a big agenda, right? This isn't something that has just happened over the 90s and in the 2000s. This has been going on for decades, if not before, right? Before this whole music thing was set up, you know, whether the Tavistock Institute created the Beatles or whatnot, you know, the Grateful Dead and onwards throughout the decades. These people have been at this for a very, very long time, and people don't have to be under any illusion. And whether these people are demonic or not, this falls into the basic category of idolatry. There you go.
Yeah, basically. And like I said, this is why I wanted to cover this, because this is something personal. This is something where I have to like rationalize what is going on. Are we listening to people who are still part of this like long-term agenda? Is this more confirmation to people who are still investigating the Pedogate stuff and the Pedogate connections? Is this a tip to people like myself who are younger, who see the connections, who see these kinds of things taking place? And is this just like one of these people, or not even one of these people, one of these organized agendas? Is this them saying like, yes, you're right, this Pedogate stuff is real, and you've actually been listening to a victim of our program? How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel? You know, the same time that we hear, you know, how many other arrests took place today? 100 kids missing in the UK, 30 kids in Haiti. So there's some sex slave operation going on over there in North Carolina. How many different things are going on? I have to like make a timeline every like 2 or 3 months to keep up with how many arrests are taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this stuff is connected. That's why, you know, when we start talking about Chris Cornell, Jay-Z, Linkin Park, and all these other Hollywood connections that are involved with this Pedogate stuff, I mean, how many more testimonies do we need? Do we need Elijah Wood telling us like, yep, this is happening? Do we need Corey Fieldman telling us this is happening? Do we like, how many more testimonies are going to come out saying that this type of stuff is real? And I think what we're all just having to rationalize is that maybe Chester was trying to actually do something about this. They said they had an organization dedicated to trying to fix this. So suicide doesn't make sense.
No. And as you said about these 100 kids that went missing in the UK, do you know what the biggest story of the UK was today? The fact that Doctor Who is now a woman. Yeah, that they now got a transgender agenda for Doctor Goddamn Who. Yeah, no mention about no 100 kids. Yeah, no mention about no Pedogate, no mention about no corruption, nothing, just complete distraction. And then you wonder why people are just so disconnected from all this stuff. When they hear this stuff, they can't believe it. Unless it was on CNN last night, yeah, they're not going to believe it unless it goes mainstream. But then again, why would the elite want to tell on themselves unless they had a reason to do that? Yeah, you know, it's just so sad that it takes people like us and other channels like us on YouTube, yeah, the alternative, what's left of the alternative media, to be able to educate people on what is really going on in the world. You know, it's really sad, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is, and we'll be out there to give a voice to it.
Well, that very same day that we found out, is in that same time frame. I don't know about the same day, but that same time frame is whenever we found out that 7,000 documents from Anthony Weiner's laptop was being turned over to the FBI. What I'm trying to say is we're seeing like an organized takedown and a killing off, a culling. Like they're cutting all ties, they're cutting off all loose ends, they're dealing with like all of the people that are like trying to expose them.
Well, they're exposing, or they're disposing of the people who can potentially take them down. They know that since we've been reporting on Pizzagate, since all of this stuff has come out, you know, I think they need to tighter and smaller. So they need to get rid of the people that they fear that are going to open up their mouths. Like we heard that, you know, Chris was, we heard that Chester was. These people, you know, they can do some serious damage to not only these people politically, but, people are going to call for an uprising, and they're going to demand that these people be brought to justice. Same thing we've been calling for the last year. You know, we want these people brought to justice. So that's what I personally think is what they're doing, is they're narrowing down the circle.
One of the things, if we could, before we kind of go off, one of the things we talked about before the show is the public statement that Mike Shinoda made for Linkin Park. Yeah, if you could read that, so we can kind of touch on that real quick, because that was coded.
Yeah, this was just released. This was just sent to me, and I wanted to read it to you guys on the air. It said, "Dear Chester, our hearts are broken. Of grief and denial are still sweeping through our family as we come to grips with what has happened. Lives, maybe even more than you realized. In the past few days, we've seen an outpouring of love and support, both public and private, from around the world. To Linda and the family, appreciate it. Know that you were the best husband, son, and father. The family will never be whole without you. With you about the years ahead together, your excitement was infectious. Your absence leaves a void that can never be filled. Boisterous, funny, ambitious, creative, kind, generous voice in the room is missing. We're trying to remind ourselves that the demons who took you away from us were always part of. After all, it was the way you sang about those demons that made everyone fall in love with you in the first place. You fearlessly put them on display, and in doing so, and taught us to be more human. You had the biggest heart and managed to wear it on your sleeve. Our love for making and performing music is inextinguishable. While we don't know what path our future may take, we know that each of our lives was made better by you. We love you. We miss you so much. Until we meet again, Lincoln Park.
I'll give it to him. It's very emotional. And I hear what they're saying. But I also heard, like we said before, the demons who took you away from us. And he's saying about those demons. So where did these demons that he's saying about, where did they come from?
Right.
What was the source of his pain? As we've been trying to reiterate throughout the entirety of the show, his molestation, his depression, his sexual abuse, his childhood. The demons that took him away could also be the very same demons that he and Chris Cornell have been trying to fix their entire lives, or at least recently that we've been talking about. If they've literally been coming out with an organization trying to fight this, then it could be very well the same demons that gave him his demons that came and took it away. They came and took him away.
Exactly. And I do believe that they, you know, oh, sweetheart. They even brought up the demons. Leads us to have to take a look, further down into that whole avenue. Sorry, but I'm still going to stick with nobody commits suicide just hours before doing an interview like he was going to do.
No. I concur.
Right. It's like
anyway,
no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just.
I'm just saying, if this, he's fighting, and I understand, like showbiz, I understand that he's probably dealing with a monumental amount of stress. But like I said, we have got to look at the circumstances surrounding it. People saying that he, or reports coming out that he was basically found dead and hung. Meaning that he was dead prior to being hung, as if this was a setup. Even if we don't know if he is dead. Like I said, there's a lot of different stories being put out there. But if this was something simple, how come they're just not letting this man die in peace? Why are we having to investigate so many different angles? Whether or not he is tied to John Podesta, whether or not Lincoln Park, Mike Shinoda, Chester Bennington, and all these other people are involved with the Haitian human trafficking scheme. You see, why prior to did we have Klaus Eberwin die, who helped expose the Clinton Foundation? Why was there 7,000 documents that were also being given over to the FBI that would eventually be made public about this pedophile stuff happening, while we're still having more of these things go on? So, and at the same time, why is a fake tweet being put out there about him having information on the Clintons? So there's a lot of different things we got to look at with this.
Yeah, and you know, with this Haitian official, right, that's just been found dead. Yeah, that was actually speaking out against the Clinton Foundation only prior 1 year ago, right? Suddenly turns up dead within the same time period as well. You know, as I said, this Clinton body count. You know what I mean? Laurie said it quite aptly the other day that this suicide assistance program
They said
that the Clinton.
they launched their suicide assistance program, and it seems to be working quite well.
And
Oh my God.
I mean, it'd be funny if it wasn't so true. You know,
Right, that's what I mean. I
there's
mean,
a lot of
when I did it,
there's a lot of
when I
people
did
turning
it,
up dead.
I thought I needed to put insert sarcasm here, but apparently everybody got the sarcasm, so I didn't need to tell you all that I was being sarcastic
Well,
about it. But
mm,
you
And
know,
that's why
it
I don't
was.
know if any. No, go ahead.
I mean, if it wasn't so sad, it would be funny.
And
mm,
for the record, you know what we're trying to illustrate is like, look at John Podesta. Why have we not heard anything about him?
mm,
Why hasn't he come out and said anything about? I'm not expecting him to say anything about Lincoln Park, but why hasn't he come out and said anything about any of the pedogate allegations, any of the arrests, any of that stuff that's taking place? I mean,
mm.
I don't even think we have to talk about pedogate and Pizzagate because of how many different things have happened. But I
Wow.
think again, what we just need to like underline is how there is a very very speculative breadcrumb trail that illustrates how cryptic this stuff is.
What is it? The question that should be asked is why is every little shitty major thing that's happened this year always leads back to his door? Why
Mm-hmm.
is his name coming up time and time again after every
Oh, I
major
know.
thing
Look,
that we've
this is the
exposed?
first time his name's come up. We had his name brought up with Madeleine McCain. We've had his name brought
Yeah,
up with Clinton, and the emails we've had now look at these pictures side by side. On the left is Chester Bennington, and on the right is John Podesta. You tell me. I understand, and I know we're going to get a lot of slack. This is no, his biological father was a cop. My
That's the
biological
perfect cover.
father. Yeah, it can be. Now, supposedly his biological father was a police officer who investigated and who arrested pedophiles.
Oh, so
yeah.
he was already compromised, and they could have used him as a perfect patsy.
Well, and it also came up that his mother had an affair with John Podesta. Whether it was
Yep.
true or not, it came up.
Yep. I don't think any good. If you ask me, and this is I don't know the police, but I don't think any good cop investigates the sexual child abuse. I think that's like some kind of weird role or weird like task they give those specific types of people that are like already compromised.
Yeah, we investigate ourselves to make ourselves look good.
Yeah, they're those cops that they get called and get paid off real quick.
We've investigated ourselves, and we found ourselves not breaking any laws or doing anything wrong. It's basically.
No.
Oh, I didn't know we were Monsanto.
Right.
But that's what we're talking about is just how these people have like an organized. There's a sick, satanic underground underbelly of America, of like the entire world that we're seeing, of these people who have an organized agenda, who are doing nothing but practicing, if not dark magic, mind control, or sexual abuse, human experimentation, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
They are grooming, they are indoctrinating, and they are messing with children. That this is evil. This is I don't want to.
There's another level as well, right? This is the next level of the externalization of the hierarchy. Yeah, this is the next level down, right? That they are bringing to the table, and they are showing us what they are. They're showing us who they are. You know, whether it's by design or it's by accident. You know what I mean? They are preparing us for what is to come. Yeah, because like we tell a lot of people, yeah, what they do to these kids, and I mean, how many children go missing a year? Tens of millions of children go missing a year, right? Once they get their claws into this system that is closing tightly around us, yeah, everybody's kids are at risk. They'll be taking people at will, right? Because that's who they are. They have got no. I mean, they got no compulsion over their own kids. Yeah, what do you think they're going to do about your kids and somebody else's kids? These people are psychopaths. They are sick and perverted and twisted. But these are the people that are in power. And once they get a stranglehold and everything, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news to people that are listening tonight. But you need to prepare yourself for the worst. That these people, you wouldn't trust them as far as you can throw them now. Imagine what they'd do if they got a new world order system in place. They'll be taking your kids by the bucket loads, by the train loads. You know what I mean? Because this is who they are. This is the religion. This is the Luciferian satanic system that they practice, and they take it very seriously. Yeah, and unfortunately, they are paedophiles. They are murderers. They are the worst kind of scum in this world. And we need to, they need to be exposed for what they are.
It's like how, and this is what you got to look at. This is what I tell people all the time. How is there a tentative relationship or a tentative connection between Linkin Park and Pedogate? How is that even there? How has that been washed over? And even if we know this is all just surface level stuff, we know that again, these people have got to meet to get to a certain place of power. As you were saying before, it's selling your soul.
No, it's the rituals. It's the rituals. They are performing. It's just not like 1, 2, then you're done and that's it. No, these people are doing it constantly, daily. Right? It doesn't matter whether you're a performing artist or you're a politician. Yeah, these people. I mean, and we're not just talking from we guess they're doing this. This stuff is being put out there. This is documented stuff. These are whistleblowers. These are people that have come out. They come out on the TV all the time and say, "Oh well, I sold my soul," and blah 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 and all that. Yeah, but there's a deeper, darker agenda behind what they're saying. They're not just saying this stuff off the cuff, right? A lot of this stuff, like the stuff that was read out, is coded.
And that's
Laura's lost the internet. Right, so it looks like we're going to take on the show until she gets it back. So,
of course, well, no. If anything, that's something I want to highlight as well. Is like I'm not trying to say that maybe Chester sold his soul. I'm saying he was already offered, as if like that's why there's got to be some kind of connection between John Podesta and Chester. I'm feeling like Chester was an Illuminati sacrifice to some degree. He was already offered up. You see what I'm saying? Like he was a victim of this pedogate, of this ritual abuse, of this sexual abuse. He was a victim of this type of stuff. He had already been offered up, and so he couldn't. I don't want to say he couldn't sell his soul because he was born into it, but that's what I'm trying to say is like it was that it were we listening to the cries, to the help, were we listening to somebody that was basically a victim of this all along, who was already a part of this organization and not knowing that he was going to be offered up later on in life. I mean, what would happen? That's what I was saying before at the start of the show. What would happen, if you found out your estranged father, John Podesta, was actually dipping into you and your friend's pedophile stinging operation, him and Chris Cornell? What if him and Chris Cornell were actually trying to help children who were actually victims of child trafficking, and then finding out these kids, taking care of them, and actually, getting them back to where they need to be, or at least like finding homes for them to be safe and proper people? What would you do if you found out someone like John Podesta, like I said, your estranged father, was using that information that you were storing to go out and then go re-victimize the children? That is beyond some satanic stuff. That is the Illuminati. And so either Chester found out, or as Chris Cornell found out, other people found out, and they had to do something about it. They killed him. That's like the unfortunate conclusion I'm coming to.
Well, I mean, there is that, or they knew all along. They knew and, tried to figure out a way to combat it, I mean, there's all possibilities, but at the end of the day, they were participants, whether unwilling participants or willing participants. It's one of those, I'm not, these possibilities are there. It's up in the air at the moment because obviously there's going to be a lot more coming out. done by a long shot. I'm going to warn people now in advance in the chat room. There's a good possibility that we may be kicked off this show. Laurie has lost her internet at the moment. She's waiting to get it back. She's been kicked off air. All right, which is a bit unusual. That's the first time that's proper happened like that. And obviously, the powers that be do not want us talking about this, but I think that we're having this conversation right now. That people in the chat room should be having this conversation with other people on social media. You know, this thing is not going to go away. And we do know that what is happening is a distraction from the bigger things. I am going to quickly touch on it. There are some things that have been happening in the news, very major things that are not being really discussed. One of the things is that there's been a massive shift in Israel, in Jerusalem, at the temple, at the mosque. It looks like that they are ramping it up to kick the Palestinian Muslim worshippers out of the mosque so they can demolish it and build the third temple. And they've been shelling Gaza today and also the Golan Heights as well. And these are the things that like Chris Cornell and the Lincoln Park situation of being put there, designed purely to distract us from the bigger pictures that is going on, right? But at the same time, this thing needs to be investigated fully because, you know, this stuff, you know, these people need to be exposed for what they are. And Laurie's back. Oh, yes, Laurie's back in the room. Yeah.
I'm just wondering how, at this point, how do people still debate whether or not Pedogate, Pizzagate, or any of this stuff is real? You know, I feel like, and this is something I want to talk to you guys about as well. Did you see that Snopes is they're asking for donations on GoFundMe? This is
well, you know what's going on. You know, Laurie brought that to my attention today, and I think I know what's going on. Is that, you know, even though they're a government-run funded operation, I think they've had their funding pulled because they've been exposed for what they are. They are completely useless. I wouldn't use them as a tool, and anybody that actually goes on our pages and quotes Snopes will get instantly banned, because if you haven't been bothered to do the research, if you still believe all these people, and you are a coincidence theorist, then you do not have a place amongst these people on our pages that are actually searching for the truth. And Snopes, oh God, there's so much things we could say about Snopes, but we really haven't got time of day. Laurie's back, but she's on mute. Do you want to unmute Laurie? Oh, she's back. Yeah, almost. No, she's not on mute. That was the bottom arrow of the thing. Yeah, she's back, but she's not back. But we'll still carry on until she gets back.
But one of the things I wanted to illustrate, you know, since we still are talking about like all this pedogate stuff that is taking place, and like we've been saying, you know, the mid to high level traffickers that were arrested in Haiti, you know, these people that are being kept as slaves, and the North Carolina church, that mega church, and as you're right, you know, all this stuff that they're talking about, you know, the destruction of the temple and trying to build the third temple. Another thing, and this is kind of my interpretation of them building the temple, I think they're trying to build a new man. I feel like there's a symbolic and a metaphorical interpretation of trying to build the new temple. I feel like they're trying to create their own version of man. And what I'm trying to say is through the transhuman agenda, through all these other things that they're doing. And this is just a wild or a wild thought I want people to entertain. You know, we constantly have questions of just like, how do these people conduct these experiments? How do they have this advancement in technology? How are they testing these things on humans, et cetera, et cetera? Well, whenever we look at how many different people are being arrested due to this pedogate phenomena, this pedogate investigation, this pedogate scandal, really, think about how many people these people have procured. Thousands of people within their lifetime alone. Now they have got to be, in this shadowy underworld that we're talking about, they are basically products, and they will use these people. What I'm trying to say is there's authorization somewhere. The government is aware that these things are taking place. So I'm sure that whenever they try to pass off these these children, they give them away to government institutions to conduct human experiments.
Yeah.
It's not only merely for evil intentions, evil purposes. It's got to be for governmental experimentation.
One of the best.
Go ahead.
One of the best. I'm back, guys. By the way.
Are you sure?
Sorry about that. Completely and totally lost internet at my house. I'm back. One of the best children harvesting of children is our Child Protective Services here in the United States.
Yep.
They legally come in and take your child, and you know, and this is, I mean, we've exposed this in the past. I mean, look at who's running our Amber Alert system, pedophiles. Look who, you know, guys, I mean, this goes deep. This goes, it affects all of us.
Yep.
You know, if we don't protect these children, guys, who's going to? We can't depend on the government to do it.
No.
Nope.
And for them people out there go, well, they can't take our children. They're our children. Yeah,
they already are.
Let me tell you something, people that are listening out there. This is for parents out there. You gave up your rights to your children the day that you signed your birth certificate of your child, and your parents did it. The parents did the same to you as well, unknowingly, unwittingly. That is how it is, right? They have got rights to your kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I remember a story of a woman who had 4 kids, right? And one of the kids, she didn't have register with a birth certificate. I think it was in the UK, and social services came around and took her children away, all 4 of them.
Yes.
Yeah? At a later time, they came back and brought back one of the children, the youngest children, and said, nothing to do with us, that she doesn't belong to us, because she hadn't signed the birth certificate, right? Because they couldn't do anything legally. The child didn't belong to the state, right? If that isn't proof, right, I don't know what is.
Exactly. If you when you sign your birth certificates, when you sign that child's birth certificates, you give up all legal rights to that child. You turn that child over to the government. That's why they have legal rights to come into your home and take your children, because they are not your children. EJ just got kicked. We're trying to get him back in.
Oh, we got kicked as well. Oh, that's great, isn't it? But yeah, let's just continue. I was just explaining to people that, you know, all these things that we are investigating and talking about tonight are distractions, right? Even though they're very important, that we need to talk about, and it needs to be discussed not just by us, but people out there need to, you know, do their own due diligence. I did mention about the biggest story that's not being talked about is what's going on in Israel right now. And Marty's been bringing that to my attention today a lot. And I've been watching as well. That is a major story that needs to be watched very, very closely. It is getting so close to the building of the third temple. Right now, it is going off in the West Bank majorly, and I just brought into their attention that it's going off in the Gaza Strip as well, and it's also going off in the Golan Heights. Yeah, Israel are ramping it up. It seems to be the time now for getting close to the building of the third temple.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah. Oh.
EJ's having problems. Hold on.
Wow. They really don't want us talking about this tonight. They really don't, which is good, really, because they're showing that, you know, they're showing their hand.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay, it doesn't matter, but we're going to still continue on. So, like I said, I was out of the room. I don't know what you guys were talking about, but have you hit on?
Yep.
Have you hit on Podesta? Did you guys start with the Podesta?
Not particularly, no. But we've still got the. We know that you're back. We can start to make that connection.
Let me get to that video real quick that I was playing when I so rudely got thrown off the internet.
Before you got abducted.
And we're going to try to get EJ back in here. We're going to see if he can sign under my name. Scott, do me a favor. I know you're in the chat, or you're in the call here. Can you drop out, and I will send you the link to come in as yourself, because there's 3 turns on here, and I don't know which one's me. Wait a minute. Oh, I do. I know which one's me. Never mind. Don't
Oh,
worry about it, Spirit.
don't. Oh, that's it.
Oh, never mind. He dropped out. Okay.
Yeah, cool. There you go. And
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
live.
I just understood what
And
you mean.
we're going live in 3, 2.
All right. So, shit. Hold on a minute. That's me.
Excuse me.
I mean, shoot.
Go and wash your mouth out with soap and come back in.
Sorry. Oh, it's been one of those weeks. Okay. So, when the story broke, we heard that Chester Bennington's real father, real father, is or could possibly be John Podesta. Believe it at first. I just looked at it. I was like, yeah, whatever. Then I started looking
It was me.
at it.
It was me that brought it to your attention. Do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
it was. Absolutely
And then you
was.
just went boom, ran with it. You know what I'm saying? I've got to take my hat off to you. You've been, exceptional in the last several days. You've caused a lot of controversy with just basic research. Yeah, something that a lot of people fail to seem to do. They seem to come and gravitate to our page, right? Get caught up in their emotions, y'all, and it seems to be quite interesting to see them squirming it in and out. And believe you me, when we do this stuff, right? And a lot of this stuff is quite an emotional, it takes you on an emotional ride. We have to separate ourselves from emotion. Just get on with it, yeah. Because when you get into your emotions, that's when you stop making critical decisions and thought processes, and that's when a lot of this truth just gets buried amongst all the crap. Yeah, and continue.
Yeah. I have been ruffling a little bit of feathers, and that's kind of what I do. When I post, I don't post often, but when I post stuff that pretty much has a lot of meat to it, and it causes a lot of people to fall into their feelies, and this was one of them. So I'm not going to play the audio on this video because I'm very careful on what we're playing on the channel, so we don't get another strike. But because we won our last one, and I do see Spitfire in the house. Spitfire also has been fighting the whole
the whole thing.
strikes on his channel.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have Chester Bennington, and now Chester. We're going to take a look here. On the left is Chester Bennington, and on the right is John Podesta. And if you look at the two, you look at the foreheads, you look at the nose, you look at the chin. John Podesta and Chester Bennington have a very prominent chin line right up here. Okay, they both have the same chin line. They both have the same chin. We're going to go up here just a little bit.
And look at the ears.
The ears, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, the mouth,
the dimples.
the dimples. Exactly. Now, I know we said at the top of the show, we don't want to make it, everybody's going to say, look, his biological father was a police officer, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I can say anybody's the biological father of my child.
Yeah,
without a DNA.
Yeah, they said Michael Jackson's kids were his. Yeah, but they were white.
Right. Exactly. Right. So, without a DNA test, we can't. But here's the kicker: the mother had an affair with John Podesta.
Yeah, but it's a coincidence.
The father that raised him, or that was married, should say that was married to the mother, because he didn't raise him, because he left after he found out about the affair, was a police officer who was into that. His job was to catch pedophiles. So, so we have that connection also. So we're going to look at the pictures a little bit carefully here. The guy goes in and shows about the noses. He's talking right now. He's saying the noses, even when you turn it to the side, the noses still look the same. They've got the same curvature at the top, same curvature, same, jawline. We talked about the jawline here.
Yeah, he could actually play him. If he was still alive, he could actually play him in his own movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I want to go back real quick. I need to find something here, and I want to show you guys. Somebody was talking. They said, I don't know if I can find it. They said that they listened to a video to talking. Then they went and listened to an interview that Chester Bennington did.
Mhm.
They thought they were listening to the same person speak.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, they look like they could be clones.
Yeah. I mean, could you go and put this in the box labeled? You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. Yeah.
Right.
Because that one's
Right.
getting a bit full. You might have to get a new index somewhere.
Right. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I don't know why I got kicked out right then, but they just did not want me talking, or just did not want me a part of the conversation.
No.
Who's Chris Keene?
I think he's a musician.
Okay. I want to read to you what Chris Keene wrote. I believe this was yesterday. He said, so I've kept my mouth shut on this for a while due to fear of backlash, but fuck that. And pardon my French, pardon my language, but I'm just going to read this word for word. I'm not going to bleep it out because we're all adults here, okay? I'm letting it all out. Chris and Chester were murdered. Suicide shit for 1 minute. Anyone who knows about Chris and Chester knows they were best friends. Chester was even Chris's son's godfather. The two of them worked together in the Chris and Vicky Cornell Foundation, who helped prevent the sexual exploitation of vulnerable children. Chris also worked with the Clinton administration on a CPP service out of Haiti that was later found out to be a human trafficking ring. Several journalists who tried to break that story died suddenly. Rumor has it that these men had acquired a list of people in the mainstream media, the government, and the acting world who were involved in this human trafficking and pedophilia ring. Chris apparently was about to blow the lid on this, coincidentally, shortly after he's found dead. Fast forward to yesterday. In almost the exact same fashion, his best friend, Chester Bennington, is found dead, the exact same way as Chris was. Something is not adding up here, people. If Chris hung himself, then why does his autopsy report show that he had head trauma and 9 cracked ribs?
Wow.
Anything about singing knows that with 9 cracked ribs, it would be impossible to perform, thus making it impossible to have performed the night of his death. These are the signs of a man fighting for his life. The Illuminati is real, people. Don't let them fool you.
Wake
What
up.
do you guys think about that?
Wake up.
Wake up, people.
Wake
up. Get out of your feelings. Get out of your emotions. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And see these
Wake
facts.
Up. See it for what it is.
Right. We're not making it. Like I said at the top of the show, we're going to present to you these. This is not our opinions here. We're presenting to you. Okay, so with that being said, and with Chris Keene saying, that Chris had 9 cracked ribs and head trauma, and then we've got Chester Bennington's wife with that mysterious tweet that said he was dead before he was hung. She has proof.
Come on.
I'm sorry, guys, but I know I'm not the only one adding 2 and 2 here and getting 4.
You see, that's the problem. Is it makes too much sense. It's easier for people to say, "Oh, he killed himself." There's no way he was going to help expose some of this satanic pedophilia that's taken on.
How many more celebrities or high-profile musicians are going to die in the next upcoming months before somebody starts waking up and making the connection? Go, hang on, this is a bit weird.
I really do believe that it has to do with the eclipse. And I'm sure if we did like a timeline,
and I also want to remind you guys the 27th of July is coming up on Thursday, and guess what that is?
It's not the end of Bohemian Grove, is it?
Yes, it is. It's the cremation of care ceremony.
The grand finale, where they say
Wednesday night, Thursday morning, 3 a.m.
Where they claim to do a mock sacrifice, but I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe it's mock anything. I think they actually use real sacrifices.
Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Well, if I'm sure if we could break down all the math of the numbers of children that have already been released this year, and we're talking about them doing fake rituals. They only need one effigy. That's what they said. Sure, an effigy. Only one. These people are having like a feeding frenzy right now.
Yeah, get the effigy out of here.
Yeah, it's not an effigy. We know that. That's let the sheep that want to believe that that's not a real person, that it's just a mock sacrifice. Let them continue to believe that, but we know otherwise. I have a lot here. I'm trying to
cram it in
here. Oops, wrong show. Oops, wrong show. Oops, wrong show. Sorry, guys. Wrong show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the screenshot I sent you of all the other articles that popped up that day resulting about Chester.
Here's a picture of Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell. Oh,
yep.
I know. I mean, what? There we go. There we go. That picture of there's Chris Cornell and Bennington and their wives, children. Look like a pretty happy.
It's like, how many more examples do we need that Chris and Chester were involved in trying to help expose a lot of what we're exposing? They're already on the tail of and trying to help these kids that were victims of it. But apparently they were getting too close and about to take a step too far. And it seems like what we're dealing with is how that cost Chester's life. It's crazy.
Exactly.
But
exactly. Now I want to. I'm going to fast forward through here a little bit.
He's gone again.
Okay, so we have the Lincoln Park. We have the Lincoln Park and the Clinton connection. All right, and you'll see here in a second. I will when he scrolls down here. In Haiti, by the way. All right.
Yep.
All right, and
I can guarantee you that there won't be many more photo opportunities by the Clintons or any of their associates in Haiti anytime soon. The Haitian people and the Haitian government want to string them up, and have publicly said so. Yeah, for very obvious reasons. Do you know what? I think it was only like 0.6% of the whole total donations actually filtered through to the Haitian government.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was some
about 96% actually went to the Clinton Foundation and other associates that had absolutely nothing to do with anything that was going on in Haiti.
Here we have download to Haiti, or download to donate for Haiti. American rock band Lincoln Park started the project called Music for Relief in 2005. There we go. There's another connection with Haiti and Lincoln Park.
Yep.
Also want to show you guys this. Here's the Lincoln Park Not Alone album. And we look over here, and what is this?
Oh gosh.
These are the signs. Now, these are not symbols or signs that we have made up. These are actually FBI's
database.
It's out of their database. Absolutely.
Where did the actual pizza language come from? It came from the database of the FBI that was actually identifying that this was the paedophile code that they were using. You know, using pizza slang terms for certain various children and sexual acts and certain whatnot. And it was straight from the FBI database. This isn't something that was just made up, that came out of nowhere. It came from somewhere. And it traces back to the elite.
Show you guys this real quick. Afternoon of May 17, 2008 will be the 50th anniversary of the Lincoln Park. Talk about Lincoln Park being a base or being a place where the children were sacrificed. It says on this day, 50 years ago, which was May 17th, 13 children aged 2 to 10 were put to death through the course of medical experiments. You guys go ahead, and he's showing the facility here. This is Lincoln Park. This is where the facility was. And I want to show you guys something.
Wow.
Take a look at the picture on the right here. Do you see the double triangle?
Yes, I can see it.
You see the double triangle? Okay, I'm going to show you guys something.
Oh, boy. Go on.
What's this? The double triangle, guys.
There you go. They listen. These people are. I'm sorry. These people are taking the piss, right? They are taking the PISS, right? These people are mocking you. These people. I'm just talking to the people that are listening. They are mocking you, right? You people need to seriously wake up, and you need to see it for what it is. This is a form of mockery. None of this is by coincidence. Yeah, they don't do things by chance. They are mocking you, right?
I do believe that the lyrics that Chris Bennington sang in his songs with Lincoln Park and his album covers, they were encrypted, they were encoded with the message, and the message was, and it did have to do with the child abuse that he went through, the abusing of as a child, the sexual abuse, the abuse at the Lincoln Park, I know somebody in the chat room, Stephanie mentioned about Lincoln Park being the place where they originated from. There's more to it. You've got, if you're going to be an investigator, you have got to stop scratching the surface and dig deeper, because
You've got to come out of the exoteric, and you've got to delve into the esoteric. Right? We live in two worlds. We live in the world that is presented to us, and we've got the hidden world that they encode with signs, symbols, and whatnot, and they mock us with this stuff, and they throw it out there, right, just out of focus, so you can't see it. Yeah, but the people that can see it, well done.
Exactly. So I don't think EJ is going to be able to jump back in here. I think he's having problems. I don't know what's going on.
He's here. I can see his symbol. Oh, I think he's here. I can see him. I can't hear him. They really don't. Oh no, he's coming off mute. Yeah, here we go.
No, I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
Oh, so I've definitely been talking. I was wondering if you guys could.
No, I'm sorry, dear.
No.
So you've been here? Yeah, we can hear you fine now. You were on mute.
I was popping in and out though. All kinds of connection issues. They really don't want me in here.
Okay, so did you see what I showed here?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. This is what me and Robbie were talking about while you were going through the same thing that I was going through. I was like, with all the different kinds of people, all the children, all the CPS children that they take, they can do all these different experiments. They have got to use some of them for governmental and medical experimentation. And I mean, right there, that symbol that you have up, the double pyramid, and then we see that same symbol inside of the Lincoln Park symbol. I mean, like Robbie said, that's them slapping us in the face. That's them telling us, look what we're doing. And that's why at the start of the show, I kind of wanted to talk about briefly. I just throw this in there. If people had looked into Donald Marshall, he talked about basically having his pain, having his experiences in cloning facilities, basically being turned into song lyrics. And so then, we look at Chester, and he's a spitting image of John Podesta. Could he be a clone, basically singing about his experiences at the Lincoln Park facility? And I mean, that's a whole nother. It's deep. It's a way to look at it, but this is, like somebody else is saying in the comments, Project Lincoln Park. Are we dealing with this deep of an agenda, this dark of an agenda? And all the evidence is pointing towards yes.
We are dealing with something, and let's not forget, you know, the because I was down for a bit, guys. Um, huh.
I think there's just like a
Did
very.
I send it to you?
Oh, go ahead.
Did I send that to you? The
Maybe
Hmm.
it just kind of you just
Hmm.
kind of cut out right there, Lori.
Yeah, you cut out there for a minute.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
You know, and we can't deny what, you know, Lincoln Park and what they put out their statement. They put out this is the official statement from Lincoln Park regarding Chester Pennington's death.
Hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like like Robbie's been saying, they're very well aware of the demons that they're in bed with. I mean, you don't get to star fame without doing some couch surfing, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
also, they don't always write their own lyrics as well. They have a team of people,
correct.
specialists, writing their
Right.
lyrics. Yeah.
And let's not forget that some also go into trances before they write their lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people, even uh, Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley admits that he went into some sort of a trance as he was writing his music.
There you
So,
go.
The whole angle I'm like really trying to take at this with people whenever I'm trying to like talk to them about it, because you know I am a Linkin Park fan, like I said, but it's like you gotta look at, why are they not letting this man die in peace? Why did he die on his best friend's birthday? Why is his band connected with the Clintons? What are they doing in Haiti outside of trying to help this sustainable resource center that they're doing? You see, why are there so many? Why does he look like John Podesta? You know, what's going on with that? There's so many different like red flags surrounding this, that it's just like, for people to turn it off, I feel like is a disrespect to, I don't know, truth seeking, but also like trying to really grasp what's really taking place here on so many different levels. It's like
You've also got to remember. Sorry. You've also got to remember that all these people that are in the spotlight, all these singers and performers and guitarists and whatnot, they are all disciples, one by one, of Aleister Crowley. All of them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're all playing on the same. They're all singing from the same hymn sheet of Aleister Crowley. All of them. So they, it doesn't matter whether it's Linkin Park or it's Led Zeppelin. Yeah, they are all, throughout the time that they have been famous, are all using that playbook. You know.
Yeah, there you are, and that's why I'm talking about these days. I feel like we're dealing with a whole new wave of these people. That's what I feel like. That's really what's happening is right now they're cleaning shop. They're culling the herd. They're thinning the tribe, or they're thinning the herd. However you want to look at it, and we're dealing with like the next phase of all the things that are taking place.
Well, it's phase 4, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we'll look at what's going on with George Pell, the cardinal in Australia. You know, the financial advisor to the Vatican. He's about to go to charges. He's about to go to court on historical charges of of sexual abuse. They're letting people go.
Well, they've got to bring down the Catholic Church. Like, they've got to bring down every religious institution, because what's going to be next? Oh, hang on, it's going to be one world religion. Yeah, let's merge them all together, but we've got to bring them all down first. So we'll characterize all the religions as paedophilic institutions of child sacrifice and child molestation. So we'll ruin that one. And it's the same thing with the music industry. What about this week? R. Kelly. Oh, what's he been found out to be doing? Oh, he's been keeping women in various basements of various houses.
Yep.
Oh, that sounds a bit familiar. What does that sound like? Oh, that sounds like practices of the high level masons and the boule and whatnot. Yeah. So it's widespread. It goes across the board. They got to bring everybody down. Oh, who are they going to bring down? They're going to bring down the people that are the ones that have taken the oath, that are part of the system, you know, the puppets, so to speak. Yeah, right. So you're going to get 12 years of fame, right? That's cool. You're going to give you everything that you want, but unfortunately, after that 12 years is up, yeah, you're going to have to do this, and this for us, yeah. Whether it's real or whether it's not, yeah, you still got to do it. You know, the Masonic humiliation. That's what you signed up for. That's
Yep.
what you signed. That's what you took the oath for when you decided that you wanted to take it to the next level. That you wanted to be famous. You wanted the world at your feet. But unfortunately, behind closed doors, this is what you got to do. On the public stage, this is what we. And after so many years, this is how we're gonna. This is how we're gonna stage your death, or we're gonna kill you for real.
Yep. I bet those same thoughts are going through Jay-Z's brain right now. He's out here trying to seem like he's still doing music, but he's been doing it for too long. Too many people have fallen underneath him. I mean, Dr. Dre is basically a clone. You know,
Mm,
look at these people.
mm,
Look at these people. Look at their eyes. Look at how dead they seem.
yeah.
That's not power they're accruing. That's death they're trying to escape.
Yeah, you know these people. Yeah, but at the same time, these people need to hang on. You know, like people saying about John McCain and his brain cancer. Oh, good for him. No, I think John McCain needs to. He needs to live. People out there need to pray that he lives. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, because I want that bastard out there. Sorry to swear, that bastard needs to be alive right to the very end. Right, I want him to see. I want him to see Judgment Day coming on his doorstep as he's choking on his cornflakes. Yeah, for when the return of Christ comes. Yeah, I want to see him standing there ready. I don't want to see him going off already. He needs to live. All these people, all these elite, all these Rothschilds that sit on all these, you know, Rockefellers that seem to be popping off. You know, out of the public eye and suddenly dying all of a sudden. These people need to live. These people need to see what they have done.
Probably you're breaking up.
They're right on this now. They cut me out as well.
Little bit.
I want to show you guys something before we close it up here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I want to show you something. This was posted on Gon's Face Like the Sun Facebook page. What was it, yesterday? I don't know if you guys saw it, but oh, by the way, guys, this is supposedly okay. So here's John Podesta and Bennington. This is the man they're trying to make us believe is his father. Here. Looks nothing like him. Looks nothing like him. Okay. I just want to put that there. But I want to show you something that Gons put out. I thought it was pretty interesting.
See, that would be the perfect. They would both be able to keep each other's secrets. You know, he could easily say, "That's not my dad." You know, this guy's just like letting me crash here. I don't know who my dad is. And then John Podesta, with all his connections, you know, being involved in politics, could come see this crooked cop and say, "Hey, you know, let me see my kid." And what is he going to do? He's a cop versus John Podesta, who's linked up with all these people, all these other pedophiles. You got the order taker and the order givers.
Right, exactly. You got the handlers and the handlees.
Yep.
Okay, I want to give this credit to Gon's Face Like the Sun. He posted this on his Facebook yesterday, and I've been commenting. I've been talking with him about this. He wrote, I'm starting to think that there is a lot more to this Chester Bennington murder. Chester was molested at age 7, and his resemblance to John Podesta is uncanny. Is there a connection? Also, Swordfish warns that he will expose Pedagate and the music industry in the next 48 hours. To read. So I'm going to put it here, but I'm going to try to pull it up on my phone. Recently, I have obtained evidence implicating several popular recording artists in the promotion of child sex ring in the United States. The artists in question are hugely popular and have used their social media platforms to directly promote serialized ritualistic abuse, a horrific practice that no major North American or European government has yet acknowledged, and an epidemic of monstrous proportions. reiterate that one of the artists is so popular that their proven involvement in SRA activity could have disastrous implications for the Los Angeles music industry. Evidence implicating several nightclubs, record labels, concert technicians, and recording artists goes far beyond the conjectural limitations of online investigation and directly implicates many individuals in these heinous practices. Average citizens from across the political spectrum have put in selfless time to expose the crimes of VIP human trafficking rings in their own communities, but little has been done to confront the most powerful perpetrators and to address their ability to run massive smuggling, trafficking, and pedophilia operations, some of which have been funded and protected by organizations in the State Department. In fact, members of the State Department and members of the establishment media have used their platform to cover for the accused, including some who have ridiculed investigators and branded them as anti-Semitic or bigoted for interrogating the glaring evidence of ritual abuse among political circles around the world. Not only are there accomplices of this sorry guys, I'm trying to read this. Not only are there accomplices of this Holocaust of children, they have used their role as gatekeeper to covertly promote child kidnapping in Haiti and the region of Ukraine under the guise of medical philanthropy. The evidence will also identify several art organizations and collectors as being directly involved in human and organ trafficking, as well as their close involvement with several venues in Los Angeles, Oklahoma City, Austin, Marfa, Brooklyn, and Washington, D.C. The primary reason for issuing this warning issuing this warning and not spreading info is given the individuals who appear to be involved in these crimes. There is reason to believe that the motives behind two major European terrorist attacks committed by ISIS may be being concealed by intelligence agencies. And given the many suspicious suggesting foul play in the death of Chris Cornell, as well as the massive amount of evidence implicating one of his former record labels in a worldwide pedophilia ring, I want to give the opportunities to someone with the power to take a stand and take courage against the abuse cults, which have tainted the politics and culture of the Western world. Here are my demands. Number one, 48 hours for police or proper authorities in either Los Angeles, Austin, Washington, D.C., Richmond, Virginia, Marfa, Oakland, or Seattle to acknowledge the presence of a human trafficking and pedophilia ring closely aligned with the music industry and the contemporary art community. Acknowledgement by the proper authorities that VIP figures from multiple countries, including the United States, are closely tied to Ukrainian adoption agency and neonatal institution involved in global human trafficking networks. Number three, if any public figure with direct knowledge of VIP abuse either surrenders or comes forward to police, I will withhold the information for the time being. Not one of these demands are met. Documented evidence that several prominent musicians actively involved in promoting and committing SRA organ trafficking with direct evidence of involvement. Fully documented evidence of SRA locations in cities mentioned in the demands. Full exposure of SRA locations owned by Fortune 500 banks. All information pertaining to revolver and gun clubs existing in Los Angeles nightclubs. Evidence of pedophilia from ritual abuse cults located in Los Angeles with full list of musicians who have actively promoted it. Exposure of several dozen art galleries involved in the human trafficking ring. Exposure of several artists and journalists closely involved with a ritual abuse cult in New York City. Evidence of Dennis Hastert's involvement in existing DC child abuse ring. Of bands and records labels involved with this trafficking group. Families around the world need to know that they and their children are safe and that the participants of this horrid culture of abuse and control will be swiftly brought to justice, whether they live in whether they live on campus. I'm asking for proper authorities to take the reins to make history for the better. It ends now. Swordfish, July 22nd, 2017.
Mm.
What do you guys think about
I'll tell
that?
you what to say about that. Anybody that is aware of this stuff, right, and you bury your head in the sand, do you know what that makes you? Makes you an accomplice. Yeah, you're an accomplice to the crime after the fact, right? Just remember that when you go to sleep at night, yeah, and you decide, oh, well, this ain't really happening, or you decide to ignore it. Makes you an accomplice to the crime, yeah?
Yeah.
You're complicit. You're complicit, yeah? There's no two ways about it. I'm sorry, we're going to need to step this up, yeah? It's not a case of, wake up. It's a case of, well, you heard it, you're a witness, you saw the truth, you heard the truth, and you decided to say nothing about it, decide to move on to something else. Yeah, you're an accomplice. That's all I can say on the matter.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, look at the Ralph Rickerman
Yep.
from the Scorpions.
Mm-hmm.
Is it at parties where they were actually filming snuff films?
Yep.
Yeah, they paid £100,000 to it.
Yeah, and these people, and I have gone into my experience out in Phoenix with that industry, as far as knowing that this industry does exist, and it does exist using the Child Protective Services out in Phoenix.
Of course.
There's somebody in the chat room right now. I don't know if this person, if I say the name of the organization, I don't know if he'll know what I'm talking about. Midnight Productions. Do you happen to know who that I'm talking about there, Scott? Midnight Productions. What that was is an organization that judges, lawyers, police officers, social workers, governors, our governor, we're talking about councilmen, everything, right across the board. They would pay Midnight Productions to produce them a snuff film. They would take children from CPS, and that's what they would use them for. Children, young adults, and women. They would use women as they would use them as
Breeders.
They would have children, breeders. Yes, they would use children as breeders. I don't like to talk about this. I never would until recently. I wouldn't even say their words, their name, because the hair on the back of my neck would stand up. But it's an urban legend, but it's true. I've known people who, I know a man, I was actually friends with him, got involved with this group, and he tried to get out. And they believe in blood in, blood out. And his blood out was watching his wife and his murdered, and they made a snuff film, and he had to sit and watch it.
Oh, wow.
And then they let him go. So now he's messed up in the head for the rest of his life. He's away from him, but he's got to live with this blood in, blood out kind of thing. So yeah, it's out there, guys. It's out there. Just because you don't see it, just because you're sitting in front of your TV watching your,
cartoons and daytime shows.
Yeah, you can't wait for the next episode of, what is that zombie show?
Game of Thrones.
The Walking Dead. Yeah.
Game of Thrones. Just because you're sitting there and you're watching this and you don't believe it, you say, no, it's not happening. This is not happening. This can't happen here. Guess what? It's happening. Street. It's happening in that nightclub. It's happening in that pizza shop down the street. It's happening in the back rooms of places that you probably frequent in your neighborhoods.
They have codes.
Trying to protect our children. Who the hell is?
These people have codes. They operate in the shadow. That's why they're called the occult. It just means hidden. That's why when you look at the Lincoln Park symbol, it has weird occult relations to pedophiles. That's why when you look at any of this stuff, it's always two steps underneath the surface of what we think it is.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was just going to say there are still pages on Instagram that are operating as pedophiles. I have like an entire sect of like of anonymous that's basically going through Instagram, just like trying to cleave out all of the pedophiles because they are still operating. They operate in the shadows. They operate off of signals, off of tales, off of, you know, this is where you need to go. This is the place that, you know, you need to frequent. They have code words, as we've already uncovered with Pizzagate. This stuff is very real.
And if you even want to get, I mean, if you even want to venture into that world, I mean, there's the dark web, the deep web.
Yep. I wouldn't advise that.
They have their own. No, don't. They have their own communities down there. They have their own codes. They have their own language. They have their own. I mean, the way they set things up down there. You want something, they can get it for you. You know, you got the money, they got what you want. You know, and you know, and to say that Chester and Chris weren't murdered because they were going to expose this, when you know the scope of what they were going to expose, possibility.
Yeah.
Cleaning house.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go against the occult. You know, all them people out there that think the occult is Harry Potter and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
You need to wake the hell up, and you need to do it now. You need to put your toys away, and you need to grow up. Right?
When you think about their oath of blood in and blood out, I mean, we know that when you're in the music industry, you do that, you get that blood oath, and they brand you. Look at these musicians that have these occultic tattoos. I mean, and not even these hardcore rockers. We're talking about Chris. We're talking about you know, girls like this who they're branded. You know, they're branded.
Yeah.
Who's the
I believe Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber are clones of each other.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You know, this stuff is fresh out of the fraternities. This is all going back to the 322, the Skull and Bones. This is going back to this is going right up the chain, going right up the levels, right?
Yep.
You know, people that are just coming into this truth, right, and hearing this for the first time, and are horrified that some of the stuff that we're talking about, this is nothing. Right, this is just the beginning. I believe you me, and it's not easy for us to talk about, but we've had a long time to process this stuff and able to communicate with you. I mean, we might be talking like this as easily as somebody drinks a glass of water, yeah. But believe you me, the stuff that we've come across, yeah, is not good. It's not the sort of stuff that you want to be telling your children, right? But it's very relevant stuff that people need to investigate. You need to have these conversations. You need to research this stuff. You need to understand what is really going on in the world. Yeah, it is not all champagne and roses. Believe you me.
We would not waste your guys' time with just like hearsay. We would not waste your time if we had nothing to present here. Like all of this might seem speculative, but this comes from, like Robbie said, this comes from research. This comes from taking the time to connect those dots, to look at the things that people don't normally want to look at. For those connections that aren't easily drawn, this is what we do. This is why we look at it, even though it is uncomfortable. Like I said, I've grown up listening to these people. To see this man, and I couldn't even think about it. To see him look like John Podesta side to side, that takes some time coming to recollection with to resolve. You know, are we listening to somebody that's been victimized by this MK Ultra program story? Are we listening to the side effects of this? There's some deep stuff going on, guys. We would not waste your time otherwise.
Yeah. And we're going to switch people's minds off of what I'm going to say next, but we're going to bring it into, because it hasn't been mentioned throughout the whole show. Yeah, I'm just going to pull up the Bible. Yeah, the scriptures, whether you believe them or not, is not my problem. The problem is that the scriptures tells us exactly what is going on in the latter days, in the end days of how the world is, how it was going to form, and the shitty little practices that are going on. You know, the passing of the children through the fire is an analogy of the dark and twisted stuff that the elite and all their puppets are doing right now. Right behind closed doors, yeah. And whether you believe it or not, it's not the issue. The fact of the matter is, we were warned about this, and this is the very reason that we're here tonight talking about it, yeah.
Yep. It's like I'll put it to you guys this way: if I'm a byproduct of some of this music and previous generations' music, what do you think this generation is going to produce with the music right now, with this mumble rap nonsense? Like, what do you really think people are going to produce with music these days, with the next generation that's coming? You can already see them trying to work their way into schools. You can already see them trying to work their way into kids. That's why why have a lot of our shows taken on the tone of us having to address what is going on with children and the coming generations? Why are we having to fight for the literal right to not only have kids, have a future, but have like a sane future? Because these people are having a targeted agenda against our sanity, against our children, against our future. They're trying to kill us. These are the acts of the devil.
I believe this is the last generation, and if this is the last generation, then our generation of kids that we've brought into the world, we need to watch over them. Yeah, we need to protect them with everything that we've got.
Like I said, guys, if we
I
don't
agree.
protect our children, we're going to. We could go on all night, guys. We're coming up on 2 hours here. We need to wrap it up, but I think this warrants another show. Stephanie, who's been in the chat room all night, sweetheart, thank you, Stephanie Grove. She has been working on researching the missing children in the Washington, D.C., Virginia area.
Awesome.
And she has a bunch of stuff that she's brought together. I thought that if we had time, we could bring her on to talk that, but that's just going to open up a whole nother episode. And I think we need to devote a special episode for just Stephanie and her because it's true. There's children just in her area, just in the Washington, D.C., Virginia area that have disappeared, and there's been no mainstream media news about it. There's been nothing. And we're talking about quite a few children. So I think we're going to have to plan that soon. But guys,
sooner rather than later.
Yeah, let's kind of wrap this up. Let's get some closing thoughts on this, and we're going to. I want to end this on a kind of a positive note, or not a positive note, but I want to end this. Let's give the respect that's deserved of these two men. Let them rest in peace after this.
Absolutely.
If there's anything I can say, these are the respect that these people deserve. Is clearly they tried to set up a foundation to fight all this crazy stuff that was going on, and for everything to unfold the way it is right now, we have to understand the fruits of people. And like I've been trying to say, we don't know whether or not Chester sold his soul. He may have, or he already might have been involved in the system, but he tried to do something to fix this. And I don't, and seeing, Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington's death line up the same way, that's unfortunate. I really think it's unfortunate. And this is like everybody else that we've covered on the show, all the other celebrities. This is another one that bites the dust. I mean, we're gonna listen to their music, and it's not gonna have the same feel. I don't want to sound cliche, but it's not gonna have the same feel. Fort Minor is not Linkin Park. Mike Shinoda is not Linkin Park. Chester Bennington and Mike Shinoda were Linkin Park. They helped create that image, and to have these people pass underneath these circumstances, even if he is John Podesta's son, this just shows you guys how crazy this world really is. I did not expect to talk about Linkin Park as like a truth-seeking episode. That really was, I could not have fathomed that in my future. But having all these things show up in the way that they have, guys, this world is more crazy than we could even describe. And it's upon us to talk about these types of things. If not, we do them all disjustice.
Could have said it better myself. Robbie?
Well, you've taken the words right out of my mouth. It is a sad situation. It really is that we have to talk about this stuff, that these things are happening. And don't think this is over, because, there are going to be more tragic cases of very high profile, very large stars. It could be anyone. It could be Paul McCartney. It could be Bono. It could be anyone, right? Don't think that because they are rich and famous and they are untouchable, that they are untouchable. They're all expendable. They have come into a system that doesn't care about them, right? They will use them for their own selfish gains and aims and occult practices, and it is basically there to shape society, to shape opinion. I mean, they've been doing it for a long time. You know, we talk about the Tavistock Institute a lot, yeah, but it is very relevant. You know, there's a lot of divide and conquer that's going on in the world right now, especially on social media, and it's all by design. Whether it's in the on the world stage, whether it's in the music arena, or whether it's in any other sector, right? They are bringing this world to a crescendo, right? Because I even put it up today again about Albert Pike, right? People need to understand that this is a playbook that is playing out in a predicted, controlled, and scripted reality, right? That everything that we believe to be true, that hold to be true, is fake, is lies, right? It doesn't matter whether it is to do with Pizzagate or the moon landings, right? Everything that we've been told and everything that you see on your TV screen is a fabricated hoax, right? Whether these people are dying for real or it is staged or whatnot, there are people behind the scenes that are manipulating our destiny, right, to bring us into a one world government, right? If you don't know this and you've only just come into the truth, I urge you to do the research. It is out there. The pieces are all part of a puzzle, right? Once you put it all together, you will understand that we are being messed with on many, many levels. And I urge you out there to do the research. Don't take our word for it, because we were just like you. Before I woke up, I was just like you. But obviously, you know, we've taken the time, and we say this on every show. Yeah, please do your own research,
Right.
and thank you.
That's right. And you took the words right out of my mouth, because that's exactly what I was going to say. At the top of the show, we told you that we were going to present to you what the evidence that we had. We were going to present to you what we've come up with, 2 and 2 equaling 4. We urge you, take the information that you've found here, that you've seen here, that you've heard here, and go do your own due diligence. Study to show thyself approved. Don't take our word for it. You know, in this day and age, you know, there's so much available on the internet. Do your own due diligence. Don't listen to us. And of course, I want to make sure that people know that, you know, we understand that these men were tortured souls. We see this now, looking back, looking at their music. We don't blame them for who their fathers are or what happened in their lives. You know, we don't try to get out of it. We understand now that they were trying to expose us. And, you know, we just want to draw people's attention to, you know, what they were doing, what they were trying to do, and what may have ultimately caused their demise. We do not believe here that these men committed suicide. We do believe that they were murdered. And I'm sure that over the next few weeks, over the course of our investigation, which is never complete here, we always continue on. Even after the show's done, we'll continue with investigations. You guys want updates, go to our pages over on Facebook. You can always find updates there that we'll be posting. Exposing Satanic World Government, Factions of Freedom over there, who's trying to rebuild his page after being taken down a few weeks ago. Yeah, I see today we're up to 1,000 again. Thank you for everybody. If you haven't already liked his page, please go over and give him a like and share. Like I said, he was shut down a couple weeks ago, and we need to rebuild that page. We have our Hebrew Israelite Awakening page. Go check that out. All 4 pages, closely related. Sentinels of Truth group out there with, you know, we're building that one up. It's almost at 5,000. So we want to just urge you guys to come over, join our communities, join our family. We also have a brand new, the Underground Resistance Network group, which is a group that if you can go to our page, I will post the link up tonight, so you guys can find us. It's kind of a community group. You guys come in there, we can talk one-on-one. Me and Robbie talk to you one-on-one. It's kind of, you know, we post things, you give us your comments, you know, it's kind of, I'm trying to build a fun community, and it's starting to work. We're having fun over there, I think. So thank you guys for joining us. Robbie, as always. EJ,
Thank you.
as always.
Always a pleasure.
We will see you guys soon. If you guys want to, you can hear this episode over on EJ's. He's going to be doing another podcast on this topic. And Wednesday night, right, EJ?
Yep. Wednesday night is the final season 4 episode of my podcast. and then I take a break, and then we come back and hit in season 5 strong.
Right.
Hey.
Season 4, I will be sitting in with him on the finale of season 4. We're going to be taking your calls about the paranormal. I can't wait.
Right. I got stories lined up, and I'm hoping that people call in with their own.
Oh, it's Paranormal Wednesday now. Okay.
Can't be Tuesday.
Listen, if you're gonna keep changing the days and all that, yeah, I totally insist. I want a minted lamb Thursday. Yeah, we're talking about minted lamb all Thursday night. Yeah, yeah, no.
We'll do it on ESWG. We'll tell people we're having a show on it. Well,
you're supposed to eat lamb on Passover, but we'll not have it minted.
I don't know.
All right, I'll get my coat. All right.
The screen, I have the Underground Resistance Network, the group. Let me just copy it in here, and I will paste it in for you guys while we're talking. So we'll all be over there. I'll be with EJ on Wednesday night. Here's the link for you guys. If you haven't joined the group, come on over and join the group. We'd love to have you.
Occasionally, I post content in there and try to talk to people, but I get caught up working on so much. I unfortunately leave people hanging.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, since we've had quite a bit of a break, yeah, the pages have just shot. Our Resistance Network is now currently around about 54,000 people. Yeah.
Yep.
ESWG is now over 102,000. Right, and just to reiterate that organically, the ultimate Hebrew Israelite Awakening page is now about 64,000 in climbing, right? And we did absolutely nothing to get them there. You know what I'm saying? So, we are growing as a community, right? We can't do that without you, the people that are listening, the people that come onto our pages. Yeah, not excluding the trolls, because we ban them on a daily basis. In fact, there's no the one thing that we like better than our pages is our block list. Yeah, I actually love my block list because it's growing bigger by the day. Yeah, but that's okay because But yeah, we do come onto the pages. The pages are turning quite controversial because of the information that we're bringing forth. But we're at that stage now. Yeah, you either take in the information and come with the research, or do what you got to do, or bye Felicia. See you later. Yeah.
And if anything, that's another thing I wanted to talk about real quick while we have the time. I had talked to Lori previously about this, but what I really want to do in the future and this is what I'm going to do for season 5 of my show. I want to try to streamline a website for us, or create like a hub. That way we can like literally have it as like our own, I don't know, streamline the delivery of the information, like restructure so we can adapt to the modern informational delivery flow, like outside of the posts, outside of the episodes, outside of the audio, outside of the documentaries. I want to have like a place outside of their platforms that the listeners can go to where they can see our articles that we're writing, posts that we're putting up, episodes that we've done, and episodes that are coming up. So definitely pay attention, guys, because we're going to be transforming.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, guys. All right. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. Thank you to our moderators. We had Iron in there. We had Scott in there. I saw Spitfire was in here earlier. I want to thank everybody. We will be probably doing a show on Saturday. There's some things that I'm working on that I'm going to be putting out a special edition of the Underground Resistance Network, a video, doing a show exposing some things. So stay tuned, and we will see you all soon. God bless.
Bye.
So, hold on a second.